Hello, everyone. Just want to welcome you tonight to another session of Fred Speaks. And tonight I wanted to do something a little different. I want to start every week having uh, a phrase, a quote, or a Bible verse before we get into the session for tonight. But tonight we have a Bible verse, and it is, "I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me." And this is a very familiar scripture found in Philippians 4 and 13. But it is something that we have to understand as human beings, and that is that we have uh, a need of strength that can only come from Christ. And this strength will, enable us to perform not only our Christian duties for those that are Christians, but also the natural things that we have to do. And His strength is able to teach us to be content in every condition. And it is amazing how we as human beings sometimes we get beside ourselves and think that we're doing so much on our own. I work this job, I do this, and we have this long list of things that we say we do, but without Christ, we can't do anything. So we need His strength on a daily basis to be able to do Christian things, our Christian duties, as well as natural things, even when it comes to things as simple as being friendly to your neighbors and, just saying good morning. Um, we need His strength to do that because, being a human being, we don't feel, or like being bothered with others. And so then we need His strength to be able to still be pleasant and cordial with people that we come in contact with. So I need His strength on a daily basis. I can't do anything without Him. And so I just wanted to start doing this going forward, is to have a phrase, a quote, or a Bible verse, and then kind of just discuss it a little bit. But let's go ahead and dive into our subject for tonight. Our subject is divorce. And I just want to start off saying that I am not a professional counselor or anything like that. All I am doing is sharing my experience. And if I have not experienced something, I really don't want to talk about it. So if I'm talking about it, either I have been close to a situation or I have gone through it myself. So, with that being said, we're going to get right into it. So, I just want to start off by saying if you are currently in this situation or headed in that direction of divorce, I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry for what you're going through. I definitely know that there are a lot of feelings, uh, you know, emotions that you go through with dealing with divorce. And and many are probably, if you're in the process of going through it, you're like, what is next? What is going to happen? So I definitely want to say that I can relate, and that you all are in my thoughts and prayers that are having to go through this process, because it is definitely a process. But with that, I just want to start off by just giving you, not going into all the details, but just to let everyone that know out there that is listening, this is something that I unfortunately had to go through in my life is going through a divorce. And I think back, when, on that day when I, um, got married and everything was just, I was very happy and, I was looking forward to spending the rest of my life with this person that I love. And, and just thinking about even when the preacher was going over the vows and everything, I was just on such a high that, you know how when you hear something, but you're not really, paying attention to it. You're not, and all I know, I said I do, I will, and but it really didn't sink in as to what I was saying, or what I was responding to, and it really didn't dawn on me, what those vowels meant until I was actually sitting in the audience of someone else's wedding and listening to those vows, and I was like, wow, I said I do and I will to all of that, you know, um, till death do us part, for richer or poor, sickness and health, and all these poverty and wealth, and I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, this is deep. And just thinking about, I was making these vows before God and before witnesses. And so I really didn't realize what I was entering into, and then marriage is, if you've never been married before, there's no manual for that. It's basically on the job training. You learn as you go. And, people can tell you, oh, yeah, yeah, you need to do this, you need to do that, or whatever. But it's about the two people. So you have to, have your own experience and be able to do what works for the two of you. But then fast forward, so I go from uh, this joyous occasion, and everything is great, and I can just envision myself growing old with this person and being on the porch in a rocking chair and not really talking or anything, but just in a bliss of love and just like I have been able to spend the rest of my life with the person um, of my dreams or whatever. So that was my vision, and then to go from that to now we're talking about who's going to get the house, and and you want this, and I want that or whatever, going through that, and it's just like, wow. So how did I go from that joyous occasion to now I'm looking at divorce? And so without going into details of everything that transpired that led to divorce, I will say that it was definitely an emotional roller coaster because we had many years of that I felt were great years, and then when we got later into being married, so after 8 9 years, and then now things are starting to go bad, and so then you're looking at, okay, what can we do to make it work and everything, and you're trying to do everything you can work do to make it work, and it's like it's not going to work, and now you're at that point of divorce. And so there was this emotional thing going on because it's kind of like this is not what I envisioned. I didn't enter into being married to just turn, to end up being divorced. I didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to be, the one to basically, like I said, grow old with the person I married, and the only thing that would separate us was death. That one of us died or something. Or but I did not see divorce as being the end for that. And so going through all the emotions and everything of, wow, and the shame of, dang, my marriage failed, and people used to come to me for advice on, their relationships and marriages and different things, and I'm like, now, I mean, I can't even I didn't even want to give anybody any advice because I failed. That's how I felt. I failed. I'm, about to be divorced. And and I'm saying all this to say this is that, you know, you're going to go through a lot of emotions and everything. And the thing about it, if you have kids, now you gotta you got to be concerned with the kids and everything because the kids they're affected. A lot of times the two people that are married, they can lose sight of that and the kids really suffer. So you have to really be mindful of that if you have kids, that they're taken care of because they're innocent in this situation, and all they want is for mom and dad to be together. And so you have to be mindful of the kids. But went through all of this, you know and my thing was, I did not want to be the one that quit. And so I wanted to make sure that all of the possibilities were exhausted, that I had done everything I could to make it work. And, unfortunately, after doing everything and praying and everything, and I remember asking God, I was like, God, if this situation is for me, I said, I need your help. I cannot do this. I've done everything I can humanly think about. And, here I am faced with a situation where I am powerless. I have no power. I have no resource in my mind, my physical ability to fix it. And that was so frustrating for me because it's like I have always been the type of person that, given a problem, if I was given the time, I could, come up with a solution. And here I was faced with my marriage just, about the end, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. Nothing I couldn't think of anything. There was nobody that I could run to and they push a button or something and just like or wave a magic wand and just make it better. That just was not happening. And that was so difficult for me because I did not want to fail in my marriage. I seen different things growing up where marriages failed and all of that, and I just did not want that for myself. I did not want to be that one that failed at marriage. But anyway, I had to come to the realization that, okay, this is, it's not going to work. And, we're going two different directions. And so now, you know, we, we're going to have to divorce. And, and that was difficult. That was difficult because, like I said, no, I don't think anybody uh, entering into a marriage is thinking, oh, well, 2 weeks from now, or a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, I'm gonna be done with this. I can say that I did that, done that, and I don't want to do it anymore. No, I don't think anybody enter. Most people do not enter into marriage, thinking that. So when you're faced with the reality that, okay, I'm about to be divorced, and then you're going through these emotions and everything of having to start over, especially if you've invested a lot of years into it, starting over fresh with somebody else or whatever you decide, or being alone and just being single or whatever. So you go through that, and but like I said, then you're kind of like dealing with all these emotions. And I remember, like, leading up, going through the process of dealing with lawyers and trying to decide who gets what and all this kind of stuff. um, that part, I did not really struggle with it, other than I realized that it can be messy if the two parties are not you know willing to work with each other on it, and having a mediator most of the time is best. So that part, I was pretty much to the point of where I was like, I'm not fighting over material things and all this kind of stuff. I'm not, I just want this to be done peacefully and then be able to move on. Um, but so that part process did not bother me really that much. Um, so you have this period of the lawyers having to do their thing and all this kind of stuff, and trying to get it to a point where it's final, and you're just going in to sign papers and everything, to bring the marriage to a close. But I remember on the day everything was final and everything, and we went to the courthouse or whatever, and we saw each other and everything, and as normal, we were pleasant with one another, and that's one of the things I'm grateful for, is that we were not mean towards each other. We weren't hateful or anything like that. When we would see each other, we were cordial and everything. And I mean, because we loved each other. It was just we grew apart, and things just happened, and just led us away from each other. Um, but anyway, on that day, we go in and we sign the papers and everything, and we walked out together and everything, and we talked a little bit, and then we went our separate ways. And I remember getting home that day, and I was sitting there, and I was like, wow. It hit me like, man, my marriage is over. It's final now. It's over. And I was like, man, so it set in at that point, like, you're divorced. And that's a word, it's kind of almost like the cross to a vampire. You kind kind of like a death. Is and it's like I said, when it came to marriage, death do its part. It was one of us physically dying. That's what I envisioned, not divorce being the thing that killed it. And so that was what I had to endure. But I don't want to, because divorce is it is difficult for all parties that are involved, the husband, wife, and the children, if there are children involved. But I want to say this, and the reason I had the Bible verse, because I felt that it kind of tied into or to this session, this topic. And again, that was, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And divorce, it is difficult, and it takes some strength from a higher power to be able to get through it, because you're going to have some bad days. I had some bad days, difficult days, and everything, and I needed, in that, God really showed me that He was with me, that He never left me, and it seems like God was letting me know that I am with you more so than when you're up and you're well and everything is good with you. He's like, I'm with you all the time, but I want you to feel my presence while you're going through this. I want you to know that you're not alone in it. And so I truly believe that God's strength is made perfect in weakness. And I truly can say that I was weak when it came to going through a divorce. I did not see how I was going to be able to make it through it, but with the help of God and His strength, I was able to make it through it. So I just want to give a few points. I hope that my story is just to let you know that you're not alone, that you're not the only one that is going through it or have gone through it. That there's others that have gone through it, and I am one. I just wanted you to know that are listening, if this is something that you are experiencing or about to experience, that you're not the only one, that there are other people that have gone through it. And I can truly say that God was my source. And I just wanted to get into a few things that I felt that were very beneficial for me. Number one was having faith in God. I truly had to put my confidence in something that is invisible, that I can't reach out and grab and hold or say, hey, hold me or whatever. I had to put my trust in God, and that God felt me. He felt my infirmity. He felt what I was going through. And I had to put my confidence in Him. And even on the days or whatever that I cried of disappointment, of like, man, I failed, and I beat myself up so bad that, you failed, and it was God that gave me the strength and the courage to be able to go day by day, to get up every morning, to go to work, to do the things I needed to do. I knew that wasn't my strength. I knew that it was God working in my behalf. So the first thing is to make sure that you have faith in God, that your confidence, your trust is in Him, that although the situation is difficult, that He is with me, that He knows, he feels me. He knows what I'm going through, and he wouldn't put any more on me than I'm able to bear. If He has allowed this to happen to me, He's equipped me that I can go through it, that I can endure it. So that's number one, is that worked for me, was to have faith and confidence in God. Number two was, I feel you need to have somebody uh, that you can either talk or meet with, such as a Christian counselor or leader, pastor or whatever, somebody that is going to use God's word, not speaking off the cuff or anything like that, but use God's word to strengthen you, encourage you, that you can get through it, and that was tremendous for me. I remember one time, um, I was having a difficult day, but I was out. It was later, after work, and I was at the store and, grabbing a few things or whatever. And I remember my leader reaching out to me and I'm like, wow, he called me and everything. And he was like, I was in your area, and I just wanted to come by and sit with you, talk with you, and everything. And unfortunately, I was out at the store or whatever, so I wasn't available. But just and that was just only one instant or whatever. But it was things like that that let me know that the Lord loved me and cared for me, that He put me on someone's mind to reach out to me, to check on me. And that, I can't stress enough how important that is having a good support system, that you have someone that loves you and cares enough about you that they will pray for you. They will reach out to you, and they will refuse to let you just quit and give up. And so I'm very thankful for number one, having faith in God, and then having um, leadership to you know guide me, counsel me um, in the ways of the Lord, and how that I could get through the situation. And three is taking care of yourself. I like I said, it was tough and everything, but I got to the point where I started uh, wanting to do some things that I hadn't done in a long time. Just some things to get out of the house and enjoy myself somewhat, and just start to move on with life, and like exercise and things like that, things. So I was just trying to take care of myself. So you have the spiritual, but then you also need the natural, side as well, and you got to take care of yourself, and you got to surround yourself with people that have your best interests at heart. Um, and the other thing is that when you're going through uh, tonight, our subject is divorce, but anytime you're going through something, the the first thing, being human, we want to reach out to someone to for comfort. And God is there, is like, I'm here to comfort you. I've been comforting you, but we like to have that someone human or whatever that we want to reach out to. And all I can say in that is that you have to be careful of who you reach out to, because again, everyone doesn't have your best interests at heart. But again, you want to make sure that you're reaching out to people that can actually help you, and that are encouraging you and pushing you towards being better and not being bitter. But you want to be better and be able to move on with your life. But in conclusion, I just want to say to everyone that is listening that I truly understand that divorce is tough. It is a difficult thing to have to go through. But again, I would like to reiterate that if you are still married, that to make sure that you've done everything you can to make it work. Now, I'm not talking about nothing abusive. If you're in an abusive situation or anything like that, then you need to really be seeking help for yourself, and trying to get that other person, if they're willing to get help for themselves. But um, yeah, I'm not talking about those situations where it's abusive and things like that. But if you're just in a marriage, and either you guys have grown apart, or there have been some challenges that have come between you, then for me, like I said, I had to make sure that I had exhausted all the possibilities of what I could do. And like I said, I prayed the prayer and asked God to, if it was His will, if it was meant for me, uh, and this person to be continue to be married, then I needed His help. But if it was not, then I needed, Him to either move me or move her. And it happened just like that, And so we ended up being separated, and then that's when everything started to, you know, start to move towards that direction of divorce, which was not what I really wanted, but that's what it ended up being. But all I'm saying is make sure that you've done everything you can do to try to work things out. And if you've done all of that, and it's just not going to work, and then you want to be in a place that you can trust God, and that you have the proper support system in Christian leadership or counselor that you can reach out to, and that you have the right people in your life that is there for you, and then also making sure you take care of yourself. And I hope that everyone that is listening and got something out of this session of Fred Speaks. But this one is close to me because it's something that I had to go through myself. And so I'm praying for everyone out there that is having to go through a divorce, that God will give you the strength that you need, that you will be able to go through it and not come out of it bitter and mean and hateful, but you can come out of it and just thankful to God for Him giving you the strength to endure it and go through it. And if you have children that are impacted by this, I'm praying that God will give your children the strength as well, that they will be able to get through it as well, because they suffer a lot too, when it comes to their parents divorcing. So with that being said, I hope everyone have a good night, and we're looking forward to another session of Fred Speaks on next week. And I hope that you can join in. If you can't join in live, that you'll listen to the podcast later on. But with that, everyone have a great night. I appreciate you joining in, and I try my best to provide subjects or topics that that we all can relate to. So I hope that someone out there that is going through a divorce or at the door of being divorced, that you were able to get something out of this. So with that being said, have a great night.